Today we have the 7artisans 35mm f1.8 for the Sony E-mount, and I've been using this lens on my Nikon Z8 for a couple weeks now, and I want to share my thoughts on this lens. So if you guys are familiar with the recent releases that 7artisans have came out with, like the 24mm f1.8, it's built similar. So you got the same metal construction, it has the customizable FN button right here. You also have the AF/MF toggle switch on the side, so you can switch from manual focus and autofocus if you please. However, the aperturing is smooth and it's not a clicked aperturing. Usually I have a problem with this. However, after adjusting it for a couple of weeks and playing with it, I find out when you switch apertures, the resistance is very well dampened, so you're not gonna run into any problems with shifting to different aperture values. At the back of the lens, you have the USB-C port for firmware updates, and I thought I was going crazy, but I was touching the back of the mount and I saw a rubber gasket seal, which is insane. Yep, that's exactly what I felt. So what that means is that it's I believe this lens is not fully weather sealed. However, it can help with like moisture and like rain for a little bit. 7artisans said that this lens is made to resolve up to 60 megapixels. So this is really good if you guys have like, the current Sony bodies like the Sony A7R5 or the Sony A12 and so on. Any of those high resolution cameras, this lens is capable of resolving, which is freaking crazy for like a budget lens. Now, when it comes to the autofocusing, when I was using this on my Nikon Z8 with the E to Z adapter, I find that this lens is a lot better than other lenses that I've used, which is surprising because other third-party lenses I use are actual Z-mount lenses. They don't autofocus as well as this lens with the E to Z adapter, which is crazy. The lens is quick and snappy, and whenever I had it on 3D tracking or continuous tracking, and move backwards and forwards, it does a good job. When it comes to the image quality, shooting this at wide open at f1.8, the center sharpness is good. However, it does have a soft glow around the center a little bit at f1.8, and once you stop it down to like f4, that glow goes away and it does get really sharp. Now when it comes to bokeh, I think it looks fine. It's nothing out of the ordinary. There's also some vignetting at f1.8, but it is easily corrected inside Adobe Lightroom. Now, when it comes to chromatic aberrations, purple fringing and green fringing, I tried to look and I couldn't find much. It's there if you look for it, but you have to really, really look for it. Now, when it comes to shooting in backlight at f1.8, with this lens, you're going to see some ghosting and some flares as well. It all depends on the light and the angle. However, I do find them acceptable and usable in certain angles. I've used this to just use as an everyday walk around lens. The 35mm full frame field of view is like, deemed the street photographer's lens, where the focal length isn't too wide, isn't too tight to get the shots you need for street photography. And I think 7artisans have done a good job rolling out their f1.8 autofocusing lens, and they're rolling out their primes like crazy. We got like they brought out their 85mm f1.8, and then they brought out their 50mm f1.8, which is a solid lens, and then they brought out the 24mm, and now the 35mm and now the 35mm f1.8. I think this lens is just another great addition into the f1.8 lens lineup, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do next. I wonder if they're going to add like a Pro Series lens, like an f1.4 lens down in the future. This is what I am excited for. This lens is coming around $299, around $300, and I think that's a solid price for a 35mm f1.8 full frame lens with weather sealing and also with a rubber gasket seal, plus all the features that you have here. You got the aperture dial, you got a custom FN button. So it's a solid choice for someone out there that is budget conscious. I think this lens will serve a lot of people really well. Now, if you found this video helpful at all, consider subscribing to my channel for more content like this. And if you're interested in this lens, I'll leave the links down in the description below. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you guys own this lens? Have this lens? What are your thoughts? leave them down in the comment section below. And that's it for me, guys. Thanks so much.